With Arsenal's biggest game of the season being played on the weekend, there's obviously going to be a lot of team news to come in. But who should actually start for Arsenal and who would give them the best opportunity to win? Well, let's get into it. Now, this video is going to be specifically about the team news around Arsenal. If you want me to go more into detail on Manchester City's team news, go and watch the video yesterday where I kind of did a preview of the game at whole. Obviously, the last time these two teams played, Arsenal played Man City and just about won 1-0 at the Emirates by a late lucky goal, you could say, but it was a very tight game and nothing was really created, and I think this game is going to be very similar. In that day, Arsenal played this as their starting 11. Obviously, Eddie played with Jesus and Jesus was kind of on the wing, but they sort of played as a bit of two forward, and Jorginho operated that double pivot with Declan Rice. Now, this was before Arsenal really started experimenting with Martin and Odegaard coming deeper and actually helping the progression, and this was one of the games that Kai Havertz's project actually got dropped from midfield because they didn't trust him to be in there, and instead of putting him up front, they actually played Eddie instead. Obviously, like many of you, I think Havertz will definitely 100% be in the team this game, so you can expect him to come in for Eddie in that scenario. I also think there could be question marks around some of the things we did. We played Jesus on the wing in that game because Saka weren't fit, and while there is still question marks around Saka, I expect him to sort of be fit for the game, so I think he'll be okay. This means you put Saka on the right and Jesus could potentially play on the left. I think a lot of people want to see that. If Martinelli is fit and ready to go, then you definitely start Martinelli, but because of his recent injury issues, and we know he can be very effective off the bench, he was against Man City when we last played them, I think it's probably better to put him to the bench. So then you've got to think it's between Trossard and Jesus. Trossard started the last time we played Man City and couldn't really do much, very largely ineffective, and I think as an out and out winger, Trossard really struggles. He's good running into space sometimes and getting the ball up the pitch, but if he has two men on him, he's simply not going to be able to do much, and his movement isn't good enough. He isn't going to come inside, he isn't really going to help. And he is also not quick enough and devastating enough on the counter to actually put the ball over to him. So I'd rather see someone like Jesus there. I know Jesus also isn't the quickest, but his dribbling ability is very good in them situations. And a team like Manchester City aren't going to necessarily us the ball very high up the pitch. They're going to want us to have the ball very much deeper. And this, I think, could help people like Jesus do passes and link with the players in midfield rather than Trossard. Now, one of the big things also about left wing is obviously people have been saying that Reiss Nelson could get an opportunity. Now, this may seem a bit weird, but Reiss Nelson is a very good player at that running in behind counter-attacking system. He is a very different player, and I think he's a little bit of a mix between a lot of the wingers we have, but he could be a similar output to Martinelli if you can get him in that space on that left. Nelson has played well, I think, when he's been given opportunities this season, and when he played left wing against Liverpool, I thought in the first half he was quite effective. And because our press is mostly leaned to the right side, so Havertz and Odegaard will start it and they'll sort of progress it down to the right side, but Ben White and Declan Rice and Saka can sort of suffocate them in there. It's not necessarily too important that our left winger is incredibly good at pressing. They just need to get back when we need to and mark the midfielders. And Nelson's pace and dribbling ability, surely he's got the discipline as well to do that, so definitely could be an option. I know it's a big game, but you have to take these risks in these games. And now, while that left wing position is definitely going to be interesting because obviously you want Martinelli to play, you could also have the options of Nelson and Jesus, so it's not too bad. I think overall we can all agree that Havertz will probably start up front. It's been working very successfully recently, and something that Arsenal have struggled in a lot against Manchester City specifically is the fact that when the passing moves aren't working, they like putting the ball over the top to Erling Haaland, and sometimes with the physicality of the players that we have, it's not necessarily too good, and I think this is why you're going to see certain players come in, and Havertz definitely helps with our physicality, especially from corners, because Manchester City are also very good from set pieces. And the second big position is what Arsenal are going to do in midfield. Now, I think we can all expect Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard to play and to start. They both played both their international games over the break, and I expect them both to be ready for this. Who played in that other position? Now, when we played against Man City last time, we played Jorginho, and this was before Odegaard was running deep and picking up the ball. Now, it still worked in that game. Arsenal got a lot of control when they needed to, and in the end had about 50-50 control with Man City. Since then, Arsenal have adapted that system a lot to make it a lot better. We played in that game Jorginho, and I think it worked really well, and he came off early, but that's going to happen. He could make mistakes in this game if he gets pressed too quickly, And this is why I suggest that we could play Thomas Partey. Now, there's lots of ifs on this because Thomas Partey needs to be fit and needs to be ready, which seems to be really hard for that player to do. But if he is ready, this could be a game you put him in with. I am worried a bit about his match sharpness, however, because he hasn't played a lot, and this is obviously a big ask in a game like this. But he has that mobility that Jorginho doesn't, and it's not too bad if he is getting counter-pressed really quickly. With Jorginho, he is a good counter for the other teams because you can win the ball back off him and putting him into situations where he doesn't want to be in. Now, something that was very good against Porto that actually countered this was Jorginho kept going up with the centre-backs, kept being deeper, and this allowed him to make his time and give him time to do them passes through. This is something Partey could do a lot more seamlessly and could move from defence to midfield without it being that much of an ask, and I think he could also stay close to Declan Rice. But they are a very unused duo and haven't played that much as Jorginho and Rice have, so maybe you just keep it safe and go with Jorginho and hope that they don't counter-press him too quickly. But if you are going to play a Jorginho or Thomas Partey in this game, when we played Man City before, we played Zinchenko in left back, and in my opinion, I don't really see the point of playing Zinchenko and Jorginho or Partey. This is because Zinchenko, the whole reason you want to play him is to invert in the middle, but if you already have a good double pivot there, then I don't think we need someone else more. Declan Rice obviously would push a bit more forward, and he is very good at getting into them positions, but we've seen that Declan Rice is very good at doing it in his role in the double pivot and also coming back to that position, so I'm not sure if Zinchenko is necessarily needed. And while I think there is many options, I think tomiyasu could be a brilliant option to play in that left back spot. Tomiyasu is a sure defender in left back. He is basically 2-footed and can move to right back if we have any problems out there. He's really good positioning late, and he made that mistake against Man City at the Emirates last season, and I kind of want to see him make up for that. And he's quite assured in a tackle, and he's obviously a very physical person, can help us from corners, and he often makes very smart decisions. Now, it's between him or Kiwior for me, and I think Kiwior deserves his place because he has been brilliant, but he did play 120 minutes just a few days ago for Poland, so I don't know how tired he's going to be. On the other hand, you've got to think about the match sharpness of tomiyasu as well. He hasn't played a huge amount, especially for Arsenal, since really December before the Asia Cup, so it'd be interesting to see how he does in that role. I really like these two playing because I think they can add an overlap and option to whoever the left wing is, and they're quite smart in their decision making and their discipline in order to get back when they need to. This is something I would prefer over Zinchenko. I think the overlap might be a bit more important than someone in third when we've already got a double pivot most likely. And to me, it's really a toss-up between Kiwior or tomiyasu. Whoever you want to play in that position, I don't really mind, and I think they both can be very helpful. But maybe tomiyasu has that experience over Kiwior in these scenarios, but then Kiwior is very experienced international as well, so you never know. And I think for me, these are the three big questions: left wing, centre defensive midfield, and left back. Now, I think the rest of the team will probably be the same. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Raya, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, and Havertz will probably guaranteed start, but it's just these other positions in order to see what Arsenal are going to do. My video tomorrow is going to be a big tactical deep dive on how I think Arsenal could possibly beat Man City. Obviously, I'm not a genie, I don't know everything, but I'm going to try my best to sort of break down the best ways, but it will be a very tight game, and I expect it to be based on little things that actually matter. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think, and let me know your predictions for the game. Who do you guys think is going to play, specifically in that left wing, DM, and left back spots? I want to see your guys' opinion in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please watch my video yesterday, and if not, I'll see you in the next one.